Many couples walk into a therapist's office with a shared conviction. They believe they have a communication problem. They sit down and say, "If we could just talk better, if we could just express ourselves more clearly, our problems would be solved." But the truth is, communication is rarely the root issue. It is almost always a symptom. The fundamental issue, at the heart of most relationship struggles, is something much deeper: otherness. Building a life with another person is, by definition, living with someone who is inherently different from you. Your partner has different habits, values, political views, and ways of processing the world. That difference is exciting, and often, it is a primary source of attraction. But day to day, that same difference is incredibly difficult, and, at times, annoying. Whether it is small habits, like how the dishwasher is loaded, or deeper core values, the otherness of your partner will inevitably infringe upon your own comfort zone. When your partner's way of doing things clashes with your own, it doesn't just feel like a minor inconvenience. It feels like a challenge to your identity. We are often quick to view our own way of existing as the correct way. So when someone does something differently, we feel an immediate urge to correct it. Because it is very hard for us to simply let difference exist, we instinctively start building theories. We create narratives to answer the question, "How am I right, and what is wrong with you?" We assign motives to our partner's actions to make sense of the friction. We tell ourselves they are lazy, they are disrespectful, or they don't value me. These theories act as armor, protecting our ego from the uncomfortable reality that our own way of doing things is not the only way. We get trapped in a binary of right versus wrong, winner versus loser. This is where the conflict begins. The communication problem is simply the byproduct of two people trying to defend their own reality against the threat of someone else. This brings us to a crucial point about problem solving: the trap of compromise. Most people are taught that a successful relationship is built on compromise. But in practice, compromise often feels like losing. It is a transactional approach where you say, "I will give up a little bit of what I want, and you give up a little bit of what you want." It is a quick fix, a band-aid, that often masks underlying resentment. Eventually, one person starts to feel that they are compromising more than the other, and the cycle of unfairness begins again. Instead of compromise, we should strive for a collaborative solution. A collaborative approach requires two partners to put their minds together to figure out what is most practical, effective, and sustainable for the unit, not just for the individual. This is much harder than compromising. It requires abandoning the need to be right and accepting that both perspectives are valid. One reason this is so difficult is that our differences often trigger deep-seated loyalties. When you ask a partner to change, they may subconsciously feel like they are betraying their upbringing, their culture, or their sense of identity. To them, acknowledging that your way might be the better way feels like saying their way, and by extension, their past is worse. This is why discussions about values, family traditions, or parenting styles can become so explosive. The receiving partner is caught in an inner conflict. They want to be loyal to you, but they are terrified of betraying who they are. So, how do we move forward? It requires creating a safe space. A safe space is a dynamic where what matters to you is heard and respected, even if you don't get exactly what you want. It is an environment where you do not have to defend your ego or feel like you are being bulldozed. When people feel safe, their natural, generous, and creative spirit takes over. They become willing to adjust because they know they aren't being erased. In this environment, you stop assigning scripts to your partner to avoid the discomfort of their difference. You start to see them not as a threat to your identity, but as a person with their own complex set of feelings. You realize that you don't have to pick a winner. You can be different, you can have conflicting feelings, and you can still sit down to dinner together. Ultimately, the work is about humility. It is about accepting that you are selfish, that you have blind spots, and that you are living with a whole other human being whose reality is just as valid as yours. When you let go of the binary trap of right versus wrong, the world, and your relationship, opens up. You are not just solving a puzzle, you are learning to exist in a shared reality that is bigger than your own ego. That is how you stop fighting about communication and start building a life together. Have a nice day!